Hi everyone, and welcome back to another BTLO replay. Before we jump into bad logic, be sure to follow us on X, LinkedIn, or join the Discord server to keep in touch with the BTLO community. Links are in the description below. Right, let's get started. Hello Defenders, my name is Daly and I'm going to walk you through the retired investigation Bad Logic. Bad Logic is a hard digital forensics investigation, and that's about all I know so far, so let's have a look into it. Okay, so our system administrators have lost access to the internet-facing Windows server. Managed Defense believe our systems have been compromised and have collected some assets and left them on the desktop. Please help them. And there's a little bit more to the scenario just over here, which is, during standard servicing and patching of our server, the sysadmins were denied access to the administrator account. Bad practices are in place here, and it seems they run all services on the account they log in with. I mean, that happens a lot in the real world still, so it's not uncommon. Investigate if the server has been compromised, and if it has, uncover what action on objectives the threat actor has completed. Remember, some of the artifacts may have been deleted. A PCAP, memory dump, MFT, and prefetch files may be of assistance. A full review of the compromised application may also be in order. Okay, so from that, I pick out public facing, and I pick out application and PCAP. I guess that's going to be our start point, but I could be wrong. But let's move over to the lab and we can take a look. Okay, so our first hurdle is going to be logging into the environment. Sometimes it's easier said than done. So let's click on details and get the password. And let's see if we can do it first time. That's going to be the first challenge here. Yes, it looks like we have got in first time round. Okay, so reading the scenario, it looks to be pretty much the same again. So let's take a look at the questions. Which application did the threat actor exploit? What port does this run on? And what CV did the threat actor utilize? What is the malicious domain used by the threat actor? Confirm the 2 IP addresses utilized by the threat actor. The threat actor has attempted an unusual way of persisting by editing a key file. Which configuration file are they altered? The threat actor has made good use of living off the land binaries, lolbins. Which Windows executable did they use and to download the malicious file from the server? What is the name of the malicious file they downloaded? What is the email address that is associated with the threat actor? That's quite an interesting one. The threat actor has used an off-the-shelf crypto miner. What is the name of the executable? And what is the name of the password dumping tool used by the threat actor? Oh, there's one more, sorry. And what is the name of the text file the threat actor echoed out to? Piped out to, echoed out to. Okay, so let's have a look. We also have a README on the desktop, so let's open that up. Okay, we had reports from your systems administrator that they cannot access their account. We have confirmed that your services still seem to be up and running. To be honest, we really can't be bothered to investigate. We've run CAPE and got you a PCAP and taken memory dump. Let us know what you find so we can boost some few man hours. We reset the administrator's password and confirm they can access the machine again. We've asked them to give you access to WSL. You may need to use PC dump to pass through the large PCAP file. We've also given you a list of tools to drop into your desktop to assist with the investigation. For your awareness, we tried to use volatility against memory dump, but it didn't seem to work. Read something online about dumping not functioning correctly on 8 gig or over. Maybe strings will work. So there's their checklist, there's our IP address. That's very useful. They're giving us a date time when they changed the password, so we can assume that the malicious work was done before that. So here's the checklist, run CAPE, got a dump, grab the PCAPs, and hand over to the internal team. Okay, so I guess the most important part there is going to be the timestamp. So I think from here, we'll have a look through, see what else in the folders. And perhaps get to the PCAP. So let's just take a look at the tools we have. Wow, we have a wealth of tools there. I can see B strings in there, so that may be related to the strings requests we have. There's a few in there I recognize from Zimmerman tools, but I haven't used them extensively, so it might be learning on the job here. But that's interesting. So what else do we have? Okay, yeah, it looks pretty standard. So let's go to the artifacts. Okay, we have the memory dump, we have the capture, we have a target options folder, and a module options folder. Yeah, so let's look into target options. Okay, so open the console log. Usually that's a standard output, so I can just confirm exactly what this is from. Okay, so this looks to be from CAPE, so that makes a lot of sense considering it says it's going to happen, and that looks to be all the commands it's used, so that's great. Gives me an idea what's going on. Fantastic. Okay, so I think now it's time to perhaps open the PCAP. It did mention about application, and it did say public facing. Oh, wrong folder. Let's try again. Okay, it is quite a big file. It's 1.4 gig. So it's going to take a bit of time, so we'll come back to when it opens. Okay, so here we are. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is assume it's going to be a web application. I mean, that's the most common thing we see on the internet. There are other types of application you can run on the internet, like SIP, for instance, which is for telephony, or internet telephony, I should say. There are streaming services. There's obviously other protocols can be used too. But I think we're going to go with HTTP here. I can't think of a reason not to. So let's have a look at HTTP. Okay, so that's going to take a bit of time to do. Alrighty, so let's have a scroll down towards the timestamp, see if we can find the timestamp, and let's scroll backwards if anything looks a little bit odd or not standard. So there's a date time, that's the next day. So let's scroll backwards, try and find another timestamp in one of the requests. I could definitely use the timestamp there, but it's a little bit quicker for me just to click on these. Let's keep going backwards. Okay, so there's a HTML file there. That's a little bit more interesting. What was that for? Not too sure. Port 7001. Let's go back a bit more. Not sure what that is. Let's keep going. That looks like JSON. I don't think that's related to this environment though. That looks to be related to the lab setup, so we don't need to look at that. Let's keep going backwards. So at this point I'm just looking for something different. I mean, most of these, they stand out as pretty standard. There's nothing that looks too untoward so far, other than the HTML file we saw a moment ago. So let's keep going. Okay, so there is something there which looks interesting, which is the console images one, and it has some Erlang encoded text in there. It's also got user agent of Python requests, which is interesting too. So let's take a look. Okay, so immediately in there I can see there is a class file being called runtime.getRuntime.exec, and that looks to be calling netcat and a domain, which is interesting. Let's take a look at it in more detail. Oh, and I can see netcat there too, so it looks like we've been trying to pull netcat. Assuming nc.exe is netcat, that's usually what it's called. So let's scroll up to the top, see what else we can see. Okay, so you can see cert util being used there, and looking more into it, looks like it's grabbing netcat, which makes sense, that's what we see afterwards. The domain it's coming from. Keep going backwards. Where's the first one here? And this one looks to be a ping back, so I like to prove that it's got a connection, so that may make sense. Let's keep going back, make sure there's nothing else we missed. No, it looks to be, let's double check. Not seeing too much else here. but we'll keep going. Okay, so there's a couple more hits on console. With a different IP address earlier in the day. Okay, I think I'm going to go back to where I was because I think that's probably going to be where things are happening. So let's go back to rules and netcat and the console images. Okay, so I think maybe the next step is we can maybe filter on port 7001 to see what's going on. But looking at this, we have some information we can go on to probably answer the first question. So let's just take a look. From there, I see some, looks like directory traversal, like getting back to a folder it shouldn't get access to, then pinging advertising.co.uk. We saw that earlier. Looks like we might have a few questions answered in one go here. So another ping. That's grabbing netcat. Let's double check. Yeah, it is definitely grabbing netcat. So what else do we have here? Still grabbing netcat. Looks like they had some issues grabbing the file. Then we see the actual transfer. What else do we see here? So, no, maybe not. They're still trying to grab it. Okay, so there's a path mentioned there for Oracle. So it looks like they're trying to run Oracle from that path. Then finally we have someone trying to run a shell executing PowerShell. So using netcat to create a shell. And let's take a look afterwards, see what else is going on. Not too much else. Okay, so I think we have some information here which would be useful to us for perhaps the first question. That path there may be interesting later on. It could probably tell us what the application is too, to be honest, if we Google it. But we have a bit more information because we have the actual path being used. So maybe that'd be helpful. So let's grab that value. And let's get to Google. Okay, so let's search for Google. Let's pick one of the links further down. Okay, let's just double check the question, make sure I'm answering the right question. What application threat to exploit, what port, and what CVE. Okay. Yep, so let's scroll down. Don't really want to read a Medium post. They all look pretty similar to what we're seeing. Which one should we pick? Okay, but we'll go to this GitHub one. This looks interesting. Usually they're easier to read for me. So this is a post request, so not quite the same. We had a GET request, but looking at the actual content inside the post request, it's pretty much what we see in the GET request. So there's our port, 7001. And there's the tool, the web application, WebLogic. Okay. So I think at this point we have what we need for question 1. So let's get this in the right order. So here's WebLogic. It was port 7001 and the CVE is 2020. 14882. Cool. So there's our first answer. So I think we have some of the answers to the next question as well. Well, maybe the next couple of questions, in fact, if we look through. So I'm pretty sure we saw the ping hitting the site. So let's go find that. Yeah, so advertising.co.uk. So advertising with a YZ.co.uk. Cool, let's try that. Awesome, that's 2. Okay, so on to question 3. We know that IP address there looks to be doing some bad stuff. There's quite a lot in this log, this capture. So let's just get 7001 on the port to filter down a bit. And yeah, let's try to work out what the second IP address is. So let's scroll to the top. So we have one IP address here, which is the 82 one, and we have one down there, which is the 95 one. Okay, so immediately I can see there's a post request on there. So it's hitting the login forms first with the get requests, and then it's hitting a post request. So I think this is going to be likely the login. I've seen some Java apps use this before. We should be able to see that though from the actual text being sent. And yeah, so we see J username, admin. Yeah, so we have the username and credentials being used to log in. So my assumption is that if they can log into the application, then they're probably not going to be using an exploit to get to the console. That would make a lot of sense to me. And there's an actual cookie being done for the session, so they logged in successfully. If we scroll down, so that one also hit the login form though, but I don't see a post request after. I want to be sure this is the correct IP address though, so maybe we need to do a bit of filtering on the IP address, see what it's doing. Maybe that's the best next step. So yeah, I think we're going to have to do that. I'm pretty confident it's the second IP address. Looking at it, which is the 95, so 178 and 95 probably being the answer here, but I think we have to do our due diligence here and check. Okay, so let's get the IP address in here. We need to remove HTTP. We want to see all traffic to see what it's up to. It could be the case it's not even hitting HTTP later on. It could be they've done something after. But my assumption is that they've logged, they successfully managed to exploit the server, then maybe disconnect the VPN and try to hit it again. So looking through here, I can see that we're hitting RDP, so 3389. Assuming that is what's running on 3389, maybe the threat actor added something else on that port and it's not running RDP. But the assumption is they've logged in afterwards, and this is probably going to be the account we care about. So with that logic, I'm going to assume that the second IP address is the 95 one for the answer 3. Let's get back to where we were, so I can get the IP addresses out, because I forgot the first one. Should have wrote it down. Okay, so the first one is 178. Oh dear, my typing. Sorry. Let me try again. 62. I'll get there. 62, 72, 123. And the second IP address 95, 181, 232. Yeah, perfect. Cool. So we've got that in there. That's awesome. Okay, so on to the next question. The threat actor attempted an unusual way of persisting by editing a key file. Which configuration file are they edited? So I don't really have any leads to look where to look on the operating system right now. I could probably try search the operating system. There is a URL here, which I think is probably the best place to start, because this is where they tried to run Netcat from. Presumably that's their working directory. Maybe this is something to do with Oracle and WebLogic. I'm going to hazard to guess it probably is that. But let's also check on, see what else we can look at here. Maybe there's something else we can take a look at to help us here. So let's check in the module. No, I think I've gone to the wrong file system folder. Yes, I have. Let me go back. So see. Okay, so I don't see the Oracle folder in the roots here. So this is the application server which had the issue, so I'm gonna try the local file system, I think, here. See if we can get in that way, if we have access, of course. So there's Oracle, middleware, I think it's middleware, let me double check, middleware, Oracle Home, okay. Yeah. Let's see if we've got permission. We do, base domain. Okay, so this is where they tried to run netcat from. I don't know if this was intentional or not, or maybe it's a red herring. But yeah, I'm not sure what this folder is all about, so let's kind of have a Google. Maybe that'll give us some leads. Okie dokie, so base domain, binary folder, base domain, auto deploy. So it looks like this is kind of the brains where there's some config files and the start-stop operations for the application server. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, what that means. Yeah, so we'll have to look through in a moment. But what I do notice immediately looking through here, I can see a date time which is not as standard as the other ones. So if we do a date modified, so you can see the rest of them have dates earlier. This is around 7:57. I'm not sure if that's actually after the attack or not. Don't think it is. Let me double check. Oh, no, where am I going? I went back to the README, sorry. No, it's before the password reset, so it looks like this could be a valid part of the attack if it, if it has something in there. Maybe not though, let's find out. Wrong folder again. Yep, so let's go in the binary folder. Okay, let's do a date modified. Right, so I can see 3 files which would have a timestamp before the password reset, so these could be changed by the attacker, perhaps. I mean, we don't know yet. Batch file, command file, and application file, executable probably. Right, so let's go and check what should be in that folder. I think it tells us on here. So we have, where are we? Let's start WebLogic. Here we go. So we have no, that's the wrong one. We have the CMD and the shell script. What do we have on our side? Make sure nothing else. What do we have? We have a batch file, a command script, and an application. Okay, so we have 2 files which don't appear they belong in this folder, relating to start WebLogic. And let's have a look. So this one looks like it's actually a shell. So I'm guessing that start WebLogic is actually netcat or something similar, masquerading as start WebLogic. It's probably netcat, and it's executing PowerShell. So my guess is this is actually not really part of start WebLogic. This is something the attacker's added in. Yeah. Okay, so how's it getting called though? So let's take a look at the command script, see what's in there. So let's search for the batch file. Yeah, that's pretty sneaky. So the actual legit start WebLogic is calling the batch file, which will mean every time it restarts or starts WebLogic, it's going to call that batch file, which will call the netcat. I'm assuming it's netcat. It might be doing something like netcat. I don't want to run it and find out it's doing something way worse. But yeah, it looks like that's how they're managing to maintain persistence. So I'm guessing the file they want is the CMD file for this question. Let's try it out. Nice, we've done that one. Okay, so these 2 look to be pretty easy because we know that certutil. We saw that in the PCAP. That's run in the commands. So hopefully that's correct. Yep. What was the malicious fault? So we know that's netcat. That's easy. Cool. So the email address. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't think it's in the PCAP. We'd have probably seen it by now, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to be silly enough to pass it across that way. I'm guessing we need to look at the memory dump at this point because we haven't touched the memory dump yet, and it's 8 gig there sitting for doing nothing. So let's have a think. Can we probably find it on the file system maybe? Could I search for regex through Windows? Probably could do it through WSL, through the folders, but yeah, I can't see it. No, not in there. Yeah, sorry, talking to myself is sometimes how I think about what's next to do on these environments, because you could technically search for the regex on the file system using like the mount point in WSL, but I think probably we should be looking at the memory dump at this point. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the memory dump at this point. So I know B strings can do some work with obviously memory dumps and big large files. I'm not sure if it can specifically look for anything like an email address though. So this may be the telling sign. If we can't do anything like a regex, then perhaps we need to look elsewhere. So let's get to the tools folder. Nope, we need to go to desktop first. Let's use tab, that'll be easier for ourselves. There we go. And tools. And let's see what we have. Yes, I think we do have B strings. Yeah, that's the right folder. Perfect. So let's run B strings. Let's have a look at the output and see what we can do. Okay, what do we have on the list here? Let's get the folder up ready with the dump location, so we need to use that in the arguments for the command line. So what do we have? We have the output, yes. I know about that one. Okay, so display list of built-in regular expressions. That might be worth checking out. So maybe there's some pre-built stuff to find stuff within the file. ls will look for a string, and lr will look for our own defined regex, I think. So looking at the examples, LR looks to be looking good. So it looks like those might be the pre-canned ones as opposed to just the ones we make ourselves. Just like AR is for your own ones. No, not AR. Okay. Well, let's have a look. So let's look at the dash piece, what we have. So we have some from wallets, which is handy because the next question after talks about a crypto miner. Do we have anything for email? Yes, we do. Perfect. So hopefully this is going to find us some email addresses, so we can try find the threat actor's email address. So let's get to the file on the file system. Okay, that looks correct. What was the command again? LR. Okay. LR, email, output. So output is really important because I've done this before using smaller files, of course. And yeah, if you don't do that, it can eat the buffer up for your command prompt, and you can't scroll to the top to see what was outputted. So very important to have an output file for especially large files. And I've done something wrong. Okay, I missed the S and strings. That's important. Right. So I really have no idea how long this will take. It's quite a big file. I think we'll come back in a moment to this, see how it's getting on. Okay, so we've now finished. That's great. We have a bunch of outputting, so let's take a look at the file in a second. Okay, so immediately at the very top I see the email address, which looks strange and challenging, maybe something you can't easily find, so I'm guessing that's probably what we're looking for. But more interestingly, just below it, I see the email address is used with what looks to be some JSON text or from a JSON file. and it has the interesting phrase wallet and pool, which suggests to me this is a crypto mining config. So I'm not sure exactly which one it is. I mean, I can hazard a guess from the name and the URL given. But the whole wallet thing makes me think this ID is probably the correct one. The email address there starting BZ. But yeah, I mean, there are other email addresses in there, some for cryptex.org, which again point to us to perhaps what we need to be looking for on the crypto side, but the rest of them look to be kind of standard email addresses you might see normally. So I'm going to go with this email address. But yeah, that next question looks like it may relate to the stuff going on there. So let's give it a go. Awesome. Okay. So let's stop that dumping. It's done its job. So I'm guessing we're looking for something related to cryptex, and that JSON's important to us. It's just, I mean, knowing a bit about how miners work, and it does say mining settings, I think we should be looking at cryptex as maybe what's going on. If there was a tool running on the machine at the point of the capture or the acquisition, we should see something in there. So I'm guessing we're going to have something in the network connections, because generally that's how these work. These miners talk back to the mining pool regularly. So do we have anything for network connections in the live response? We do. Okay, so do we have anything like cryptex in this list? We do. So, I mean, I'm guessing this is the executable we want to put into the answer here. What we can do is we can go and verify by taking one of the IP addresses it's talking to and confirm where that is. So, but let's go and take a look at cryptex and see what we can see about it. So that's the proper cryptex domain. What's it all about? Yeah, we could download the executable here. I'm not going to do that right now, but I'm super confident this is correct. But this looks like it's related to mining, so this could be the crypto miner I think we're looking for. Okay, so I think maybe we should just verify the IP address it's talking to make sure that is correct. If it's got any cryptex in there, I think we can be pretty certain this is the correct answer. Yeah, I mean, it's returning the cryptex.org, so I'm fairly confident cryptex.exe is the correct answer here. Let's give it a go. Cool, so that worked. Awesome. So next, what is the name of the password dumping tool used by the threat actor? So in my head, I'm immediately going, let's go and dump for PowerShell.exe, because we know that's what the shell was working on. So let's give that a go. Yeah, I think I'm going to let that run, because it takes a long time, and I want to do that quickly and verify that's not the correct answer. There could be other things on the file system from the acquisition, perhaps, but I'm not too sure. It seems like a good route to go for me. Yeah, so let's let it start. Okay, so we've come back to the completed dump of PowerShell.exe from the memory dump. So looking through, there is quite a few PowerShell.exe, and there's a few things running in here. Some of this stuff looks to be like not valid in terms of commands being run. We can see here an example from this is a valid one. This is one that ran from the web server when we were doing the initial PCAP. We can see that working here. So that's great. We can validate that. We can see the location, and we can see also that it's running the LDP part. So it looks like it's running that shell for persistence. But looking through, it's hard to see much else going on. I mean, I could search for a list of different password dumping tools. But if they've renamed them slightly, like put a 1 at the end, or change the, how it's been formatted, it could cause some problems with trying to find it. Also, that's probably not the best way of doing it. But yeah, looking at some of these commands, they don't look to be formatted quite right. So an example here, that the space is missing from the start process and things like that. It doesn't look like that's correct. I'm not sure if this is there to be a distractor or not. Yeah, I can see more that look like they're half valid commands, but they're not quite valid commands. And again, there's more of what we're doing on in the PCAP. We can see what's running there, but I can't see this dumping at all. Yeah, more of the persistence running. Yeah, like that. It looks like it's a command, but it doesn't look right. It's missing a chunk of the text to do the download part, so I'm not sure it's right. And the same with these S3 bucket references too. The command there doesn't look quite right, so I'm not sure I'm looking in the right place here. I believe and again, it looks like they're valid, but they're not quite valid, if that makes sense. What's the question say for number 10? So echoed out. So it's echoed out, piped out. So I'm guessing if we look for like an angle bracket, we'd probably be able to find something, because usually when you use echo or you pipe to a file, you use an angle bracket. Maybe that's a quicker way of verifying what's in this file. So there are some angle brackets, but nothing to a file that I can see so far. We could also look for a double angle bracket, because that would be appending to a file, which is also valid. But yeah, I don't think I'm looking in the right place here. So there has to be an easier way of finding this kind of stuff. So like I wonder if there's like a bash history or something for PowerShell. I honestly don't know. Maybe I'll do some googling on that. I could check these folders and files, but I'm not sure I'm going to find what I want in here. I'm not even sure what I'm looking for, which doesn't help. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm looking for to search, because I don't know what would capture that information. And looking at the file system won't help, because it won't give me the output file, even if it did find something. If I found like the binary, that is. Okay, I think I might have to hit Google on this one. I don't really know. So can I get the PowerShell history from CAPE somehow? Okay, so scrolling down, what do I see? Okay, so I see console history, console host underscore history.txt. I'm not sure if that's specific to CAPE or not though. Maybe just search for PowerShell on its own, so get PowerShell history. Stack Overflow never lets me down. Let's have a look. Okay, I'm gonna grab that because that's gonna give me the path to where the file is. So it looks like it does exist. And, maybe we'll have some luck looking at this in the file system. So let's open command. Nope, we need PowerShell. Oops. Let's try paste it. Nope, I'll type it in. There we go. Okie dokie, let's find out. Okay, so it's given us the path for the file. So yeah, it does match what we saw on Google. What do I see here? So let's go through Notepad and have a look in a second. Okay, so we can see my command right at the bottom there, but we can see other stuff run on this account. So it looks like it does exist and it does have information in there, but this isn't for the administrator's account, which isn't that helpful to us right now. So I'm guessing we can take the path and just replace BTLO test with administrator, and we can probably find the history. But if you're a good attacker, you'd probably clear that afterwards, right? You wouldn't leave it there for someone to find. But let's just have a look. Maybe we can get lucky this way. So administrator. Right, there's a bunch of stuff going on. Okay, so I see an output and password extract straight away, and I see some work volatility. Yeah, so those two angle brackets there look like they're related to an output, and we can see that the work going on before. So I'm guessing lasagna is what we're looking at. I don't know what it is, but the double output, sorry, the double angle bracket to pipe out the text looks like it might be something interesting. So let's have a look at lasagna. So what is this? I see, it's a credential recovery project, wink wink. Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what it's used for. Yeah, it looks interesting. You can see the command line there. Yeah, I'm guessing this is what we're looking at. So I think we found the answer to the last two questions, lasagna, and the output file is given. So let's grab lasagna. Let's put that in. Oh, what have we done wrong? I need to read the question. It doesn't ask for the executable, it asks for the tool. So it's very important to read the questions. And what is the name of the file that echoed out to or piped out to? So yeah, we have that there too. Woohoo, we are done. So yeah, that was pretty enjoyable. I think maybe the PCAP gave me more information than was intended, because I managed to do a lot of this without hitting any of the tools in the tools folder. And I also got pretty lucky with the folder and obviously the date timestamps. But I think there's probably a fair few ways to complete this. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to never miss a video. In the meantime, remember to join us on Discord and tune in every Friday at 6 PM UTC for BTLO Replay. Thanks everyone, and see you next time.